Hi everyone, welcome to this lecture. Today we'll be talking about values and variables. But before we go into that, let's quickly talk about code commenting because we need to comment the lines of code we wrote in the previous lecture so we can write new ones for this lecture. Now there are two types of code commenting. One is single line comment. The second is multi-line comment. Single line comment is done right here. If this is the line you want to comment, so move your cursor to the beginning of the line and then just add double forward slash, and that's it. That code has been commented. And then when a code is commented, JavaScript just overlooks that line of code. Now, because our JavaScript code runs from top to bottom, but if you comment a line of code, JavaScript sees that line of code and just overlooks it or jumps it and then runs every other thing that comes after it. And the reason why we might want to comment our code is maybe we want to write documentations, some things that we don't want our browser to execute. Now that's about single line comment. When we want to make a multi-line comment, it is a forward slash at the beginning of the line you want your commenting to start, forward slash asterisk, and then you go to the end of the line and then asterisk and then a forward slash, and you save the code. Every other thing that comes after this opening, before or after this opening and closing comment will be executed, but everything right here that has been commented will not be executed. So let us console.log Andrew and then comment every other thing. So asterisk forward slash, I save. I go to my browser and reload. You see, only Andrew is on the console. Every other thing got commented. But I want this to end here so that we can start writing code for today. So when I reload, there's nothing showing up. There's no alert window, no pop-up, nothing on the console because we've commented those 3 lines of code. So I said earlier that we'll be talking about values and variables today. So values are a piece of data. They are the most fundamental unit of information in programming. And values can be anything. They can be a name, they can be a number, they can literally be anything. So variables is like the holder or the container of these values. Let's look at variable from a box analogy. Now, variables is like creating a box or having a box and then taking a piece of data or something and putting it inside that box. And then right on that box, you write a label or you give the box a name. So wherever you need that piece of data or information you put into the box, you just specify the name of that box or the label you gave to that box and then right there, the value inside the box will be accessed. So let's do that in practical. Let's create a variable let and then first name equal to a string Andrew. I save. So this is the value. The value here is a string Andrew. Then the variable name is first name. So whenever I need Andrew in my code, I simply call on this variable created here first name. So let's log Andrew to the console. Console.log, sorry about that, first name. Hit enter, I save, then I move over to my browser and reload. You see, what I logged to the console here is first name, and first name is the variable that we created up here. But what got logged to the console, what appeared on the console was Andrew. So this first name variable is like a box, and into that box we give a label, and then the name of the box is first name. But then inside the box, like right inside the box, we put a value inside, and the value is Andrew. So wherever we need to make use of Andrew, or wherever we need Andrew, we'd have to call on the box using the label or the name we give to that box. So that is value and variable using the box analogy. It's good to know that there are ways that we can declare our variables. The first way is using let, which you've already seen here. The second way is using const. And then there's another way to declare, which is using var. But in this lecture, we will only be covering let and const. So let allows for mutating or reassignment of value. We get to use let when we want to create a variable that can change later in the future in our code. So variable that can be mutated, or maybe we might want to assign another value to that same variable later in the future in our code. Let's take a practical example. Let my age equal to 21 and I'm not 21 years of age. So console.log my age. I save this, and then maybe later in the code I grew older, and then I can simply say my age equal to 24. And then when I save this code, let's forget about logging it to the console for now. So I will show you currently that my age is 21. So when I reload this, 21 is my age, index.js9 and index.js9. So after I have changed my age to 24 because I grew older, I can console.log my age, save, and then I reload. You see, my age is now 24, index.js 12, and this is index.js 12. And if I take away this console here, if I comment that line of code, the 21 doesn't appear at all. So it's just 24 at index.js 12. So let allows for mutating or for reassignment of values, and you are advised to use let when you are sure that the value you are going to give to a particular variable you create will change in the later lines of your code. Let also allows us to create empty variables and assign values to them later. So right here, I can say let last name, and then I save. And JavaScript does not see this as an error. If we reload, there's no error on our page because we just created a variable, though we did not assign a value to it. And then later in our code, I can pick up this last name equal to a string, and that string is LH. I save, and then I console.log last name. And if I reload, you see the last name appeared. So created a variable without assigning a value to it using the power of let. So that is all about let. Now the second way you can create variables, which I said we will treat in this lecture, is by using const. Now const is used to create variables which can never change in the future, and it's good to know that we cannot define an empty const variable. So let's use const year of birth, and I know that my year of birth cannot change, equal to 1954. I was definitely not born in 1954. Console.log year of birth, and when I reload, 1954. So if we come down here and say year of birth equal to 2018, When I save that and reload, and JavaScript treats it as an error. Index.js line 22, it says assignment to a constant variable. So it means that this variable that we created here, this here of it, is constant and it does not change because we used this const to declare it. And in line 22, we tried to mutate this variable created here, or to reassign a value, or to assign another value to it. And then that was why we got that error. So using const, you cannot mutate or reassign a value to a variable. But when you use let, you can mutate. Let allows for mutating or for reassignment of value. But you are advised to always use const to create your variables moving forward, because while in this course, I'll be using mostly const to create every variable, and then use let for variables that you are sure that they will change later in your code. I think that is all for this lecture. In our next lecture, we'll be talking about JavaScript data types. Thank you for watching this tutorial, and I will see you on the next.